All I knew was that I was a little different. I didn't have Jones Smith or something like that for a name. I had Shaheen.
Food is meant for thought. Food is not only to fill up your stomach.
Some people say to me, ugh, I could never cook with my mom. And I understand that, and I'm sure my mother said, ugh, I could never cook with my son.
Major funding for Arab American Stories was provided by Muhammad and Jamie El-Arian, the Arab American Community of Michigan, the Arab American Community of Houston, Texas, the American Syrian Arab Cultural Association of Michigan. Additional funding was provided by
So much is passed down from generation to generation, but it's not always immediately apparent how the past informs the present. Family history shows 3 generations of Abercias that family values endure. Ali Al-Said's son Esmaeel is just beginning to understand how his father's Egyptian heritage fits in with his own identity as a native-born American. And the family recipes Kamal Al-Faqih learned from his Lebanese mother led him to his calling as a chef. Ralph Abercia went to work at the age of 7 to help support his immigrant family during the Great Depression in Houston. He fought in World War II, attended college on the GI Bill, and became one of Houston's top trial lawyers. Our lives are molded by the values we inherit. In this story, 3 generations of Abercias discover their legacy.
All I knew was that I was a little different. I didn't have Jones Smith or something like that for a name. I had Shaheen, which I knew was different. I knew it was an Arabic name. I knew it was Lebanese name. My mom was a sweet little German, Scotch-Irish lady who never knew what hit her. My dad was very stern, and my mother was very soft.
A immigrant coming into this country, you were singled out because of your color or your language, and it was very difficult to be accepted. I was called a lot of different things growing up. And then the mood changed because I think at that time we didn't have this Arab deal. It was country. You come from Lebanon, you come from Syria, you come from Italy, wherever it is, you were known from where you came from.
Mother learned to cook for Dad, his food, which was very difficult because there weren't any Lebanese people in Fort Worth that we knew of.
Didn't your grandmother pray for
that you would marry a Lebanese?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is that what?
Well, tell us about your grandmother. Yeah, the one.
Daddy's mother?
Yeah, the one that you would tell us about that owned all the land. And
She was a sweet little lady. She was about as broad as she was long. She came to the United States in 1905. She was pregnant with Dad, and she went to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and that's where Dad was born. On March the 8th, 1905. She stayed there, and Daddy went to a University of Oklahoma, and he was taking law. He'd tell me the story that when he would go home on the weekends from the university to Shawnee, that he'd sit on the train and he'd have his arms all closed. And you know, Daddy was dark-skinned and big nose and eyebrows, and they'd say, "Are you Indian?" And he'd say, "Ugh, me no understand." so he used it. He went 2.5 years to University of Oklahoma. He transferred to TCU.
Normally it's a lot more crazy in the kitchen because everybody's fighting over who gets to do what, which is kind of exciting. Tabbouleh's coming along. I think we're actually waiting for more tomatoes. We tend to put more of something called couscous, which is a soaked wheat type of thing that we'll put in, and then we'll put in more lemons and so we typically do anything from like a tabbouleh salad, and we'll have grape leaves. We also have something that's called rice and vermicelli. I think they're gonna put out a hamburger mix today too, because some of the younger ones here may prefer a hamburger instead, because we try and mix up the new and the old tradition. So that's kind of how we roll.
When did you learn how to make grape leaves?
Oh, I learned it after I married. My mother never taught me to do any grape leaf.
How long have you been married again, Nana?
It'll be 60 years next April.
60 years.
All of my life.
I cannot believe
I'm
that.
62, so
You're 62. Boy, you were a young
I must be
bride. I was young.
long before I met Ralph, I had a list of a few things that I wanted, the qualifications I wanted in a man. He had black wavy hair, which was beautiful, and he was tall, and soon found out that he loved to dance, and he had just passed the bar, and so he was going to be an attorney. He had an ambition to make something of himself, and he had just about everything that I had wanted. He was a nice dresser.
Did he meet you at the airport?
Yes, he met us at the airport.
So he saw you come off the plane?
Come off the plane.
No, first time I saw her, she was pointing, get me that luggage and that luggage. And I'm saying, what kind of woman is that who's pointing? Next thing I know, that's who you're going to meet.
Was that your first impression? Was that the first thing you saw?
Well, she was telling them this, and this, and she had a hat on, and she was very pretty. I said, well, I can overlook all the others, so. And Uncle stopped between here and Dickinson. And he called a friend of his and had him to open up the restaurant.
Aww.
And so we went in there and had a Coke, and he put on a quarter, a nickel, and a Nickelodeon. And so we started singing and danced a couple of dances, then went to Galveston.
And our first dance together was when the Saints Go Marching In.
Was that it? I don't remember. All right.
That was our first dance together.
Nana.
Sharon, give me the rice, please. Rice.
You're gonna put rice? Yeah, this is for the hamburgers.
This is for the.
That's
this is for-
hamburger. No, that's hamburger meat. This is the lean meat is for the kidney. I mean the grape leaves.
Who said this was for the grape leaf?
Well, we messed up. Okay, here. This is gonna be.
Okay, we're just gonna have cinnamon hamburger patties, guys. Yes, matter. Put an Arabic twist to it. It's okay.
Why did we not eat creatively?
Two grandmothers are right here.
Is that the same lady that's here?
Yes, right here.
Is
This
that
little
the
lady
same
right.
lady?
That's his daddy's mother right here, and this is her right here.
My parents and the grandparents, they wanted to be full-fledged American people, and any deviation from that was unacceptable. And it's a culture that believes in the Almighty. It's a culture that believes in family. It's a culture that believes in to be together and to treat people courteous and respect other people. And I'm saying that together with being an American is a combination that's, to me, hard to beat, and that's who I am today.
When you start having children, the meaning of life changes. And you all of a sudden you have the responsibility of someone else's soul to make sure that that person is taught and also raised in the right way. So my belief and what happened when I started having kids, what do I do to take care of these children to make sure that they are raised in the right atmosphere, they're raised in the right way, and they know right from wrong.
Even though you're married and you're happy, your focus is on your children to make sure they're successful. They bring their children up and to live in this country, and God in country. God in country, and family is right there, all three.
In Astoria, Queens, Chef Ali Al-Sayed is known as the mayor of Little Egypt. He's also its resident philosopher, and he and his son Esmaeel reflect on food, the revolution in Egypt, and generational differences.
We're in Kebab Cafe in Steinway, Astoria, New York. It's an Egyptian cuisine. My name is Chef Ali Al-Sayed, and we have been here for 25 years in this neighborhood. We're a very small place, we're only 4 tables. So what we're trying to do, like the old-fashioned way, you chop every day what you have abundance of, and that's why you make your menu out of it. We're trying to have as close from the farm to your table as possible. This is one of the supermarkets here we have in Astoria, and they are from the Caribbean to Latin to Middle Eastern product. That's what inspires you as a chef in this neighborhood with all this making, to make new stuff every day. And here I like it because we sell halal lamb, which is killed the Islamic way. Okay, you know what? I need a favor from you. What do you have? You have couple hearts and couple kidney of lamb there. I would love to have them. What about you slice me these 2 lamb heads? Both of them? Yeah, both of them. Thank you, sir. Most of the butcher shops in Astoria, because we have all this ethnic group, Greeks, Middle Eastern, we eat all parts of the animal in general. Maybe another neighborhood they don't have, but in Astoria we do. How Astoria changed the world. At least now we meet each other with all this 165 different background. They speak 150 different languages. They come here and they marry and they are in business together. As a matter of fact, we standing here in this tiny restaurant. We already 3 different background. He is French, his wife is Greek, and I'm Egyptian. What a phenomenon. Oh man. Here we're talking. Check that, that is the lemon curd. Is this love or what? Is this love? Look how thin is that, huh? This is like a beautiful lady's lace, guys. It's sexy. This guy makes sexy food, makes me excited.
When we walk down this street, it's like you have to say hi to everyone. And there's almost like a lot of respect when I see them, and some even show like fear, which is funny. Because one guy, one guy I remember called him the Godfather, and he stared at him like with a serious look, and we're just like, that's pretty funny. Like they'd call him the Godfather of this area. My name is Esmaeel Al-Sayed. That guy back there is my dad, Ali Al-Sayed. Well, they call us the area of Little Egypt because of the whole Arab population that exists here. You have some areas with, you know, Arab population, but this is probably the most close-knit Egyptian population. You know, kind of like Little Italy, Chinatown, places like that. Like this is similar to that, except it's only one block. Which started by this guy again, my dad, which he began the first business here. We've pretty much tried almost, well, not every, but a lot of different countries and cultures of food. And his connection with it all is that he knows most of it. You know, he's experienced it, the food from these cultures, and you know, he has his own perspective of it. Like he has his own philosophy.
Why okra mainly in southern here cuisine, not in northern cuisine? Because of the African came here with okra. Nobody thought about it, you know, but we said, oh, this is New Orleans cuisine. We never thought about the suffering of the black.
You know, myself, I'm just a dumb teenager. Like, I'll see it as the next thing that, you know, I'm eating, the next thing that's gonna fill up my stomach.
Food is meant for thought. Food is not only to fill up your stomach. If that's the only thing, then you are a cow, then you are a dog, then you are, but you are not. You happen to be a guy with brain somehow. I hope it's the right brain, but.
And then later on, it gave me a bit more understanding, but pretty much my general understanding of it was, I'm just gonna eat this food, you know. His understanding is more analytical, more philosophical about it.
Food is a fantastic game. So Mubarak in the last revolution or movement in Tahrir Square, they utilized this as saying that the student or the young generation are moving by Western power because now somebody's supplying them with Kentucky Fried Chicken, for example. Then he would have an animosity between the young generation and older generation because they think that this food is foreign food to them.
So my Egyptian heritage kind of became stronger after the protest because I was more connected with my people than I used to be. I don't really have that many Egyptian friends. I have friends outside of my own ethnicity, but now I have a couple, Egyptian friends. It connected me more with everyone else. I knew what it was like to be out there fighting for a cause that wasn't really my own. It wasn't really, I can't say it was my problem because I'm an American kid. Like, this is the country I was raised in, I was born in. And now I'm worrying about the affairs of another country that isn't technically my own, but it's, my blood. My blood heritage comes from there.
My son, he only been in Egypt when he was young. He's Egypt. Hopefully we can go and visit, introduce him more to the old Egyptian culture, which I'm very fond of, the old Egyptian history. I just open his eyes and just point things to him. Just point it. I don't have to tell him. He is his own mind. He is his own person. He has his own explanation with all due respect. And we just talk. We just talk. We open the conversation on the table, on the food. And you can understand the whole universe, the honest universe, and the honest history of the universe, not through your book of history, because a lot of history is wrong and manipulated, but you can understand this through plates. If you read Plates of Nations. Okay, here we go. This is roasted quail with eggplant, zucchini, and potatoes. You like pomegranate sauce? Here we go, sir.
Do I smell it first?
Yeah, you can. Nice and fuzzy. Salut. يلا, bon appétit. Enjoy it, sir. كوباية. هسيبك لمدة 10 دقايق عشان الناس تمشي.
Okay, this one we're going to keep because we're going to make a little kebab with this.
Lebanese culinary traditions are passed down from mother to daughter and mother to son. Chef and cookbook author Kamal Al-Faqih worked side by side with his mother for 20 years while running the premier Mediterranean catering company in Washington, D.C. That's where he refined traditional recipes and developed his signature classics. Here they celebrate cooking, hard work, and family.
For me, cooking really started when we'd go back to Lebanon, and I would see like all of my relatives, my aunts and my grandmother, they were in the kitchen cooking, and I was just always amazed by all the things that were being prepared and the smells and the fragrances and the Turkish coffee being made and the kibbe being fried. So it was always about food and family. I grew up in Washington, D.C. My parents were born and raised in Lebanon. At home, my parents would entertain a lot and we'd cook together, and I was the youngest. So I'd be in the kitchen helping my mom and just sort of, watching and learning, but never realizing that it would eventually fold into becoming a Lebanese chef.
So my husband loved food and good food. And the kids grew up by going back home and, like he was saying, being around the family and cooking. And so they always wanted that type of food. They all have. They all have,
right.
Especially if they want to eat kibbe, and it was the grinding,
by the hand.
grinder by hand.
Right.
I told him, if you want to eat kibbe, this is your job.
Right.
Then
That was our job.
That and the grinding the coffee.
And one day I was in college and I came home, and my mom was sort of hanging up the phone and telling somebody, oh, we can't do that. And I asked her, what is that? And it was making these cookies, ma'moul, the semolina date-filled cookies. And it was for an embassy, and I was like, we can do that. We can do this. And so we ended up, making hundreds of them.
They kept saying that will be something if we start our food the way we prepare it.
But we thought if we're really going to do this, really seriously going to do this, we need recipes. And that's when I started cooking with my mom on the weekends for, I would say, like a year and a half. So Mom, we're gonna go ahead and make some kibbe siniyi, which is the kibbe tray. So we already got our lamb cut up and our ground lamb. So now we're gonna make the lamb version today, but the first thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna put some onion and the lamb into the top of this grinder. We're gonna put this through once, right? And then we're gonna go ahead and mix it really well with the spices. Then we're gonna go ahead and add our bulgur wheat, which we've soaked in water.
The night before, yeah.
Right, and then we're gonna mix that in. So let's go ahead and get this through first. We went from sort of practicing in the kitchen for a while to actually making, like, you know, now we're rolling trays of kibbe and really making these things to send to people. And I remember it as a very kind of interesting time because I still wasn't as experienced, you know, as I am now, or even was a few years later, and really still looked towards my mom for like the final, you know, yeah, you got it. This is, you know, we've nailed it. You know, convincing my mom, I don't know that she thought I was crazy or that we were like biting off more than we could chew. I think that she had more experience with food and really what it was going to take to prepare all this food. And of course I was, you know, just, oh, we can do it, we can do it, we can do anything. And, you know, and it really did feel that way. But in fact, we could.
Sometimes we used to work, when we first started, we used to work till 2 o'clock in the morning.
But that's like
and come
anything
home
else.
like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, especially when there are brunches or, you know, how they, when they entertain.
But that was like,
dinners.
that was in the beginning. That was in the beginning, the first couple of years. But we learned, and then eventually it wasn't as, it's always a lot of work. But cooking, especially when you want to keep everything very authentic, it's work, but it was fun.
Isn't this for the stuffing?
Yeah, this is for the stuffing.
Okay.
So I tell you, yeah, you can go ahead and start that, Mom, if you want to. Here, I'll tell you what, just nice. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit more of this kibbe through so that we can also do some kebab. Some people say to me, ugh, I could never cook with my mom. And I understand that, and I'm sure my mother said, ugh, I could never cook with my son. But, you know, we did it. We did it for a long time, and now, now I look at it as truly a gift because I think we're lucky. We're lucky that after all this time, and we've had some stressful moments. Now, do I have to remind you not to take it too close to the edges?
No, I think I already started that.
Okay, just checking, just making sure that we're on the same page. Now it's almost like clockwork with us. We both sort of you know, after cooking for so long, and we really cooked side by side at the catering company for, you know, for many years. I love it. After all these years, you're asking me.
Well, this is how I work.
I love it. We went from me always asking you. We went from me always asking you to now, I like it this way. We've just rolled this out into a rope.
He's the only one. Myself and Kamal were the only two that could halal kibbe. The thousands of kibbe that we halaed.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to take that, and just...
See how fast he goes? I can't go that fast anymore.
No, you know, it's not all about going fast. You know what I'm going to do, Mom? I'm going to put this one. I think when you make something and, you know, you make it by hand or whatever and you watch people enjoy it, it's, you know, it's very rewarding. It's sort of the next sort of thing I'm hoping for over the weeks and months and years to come is to do another book. Presently, I'm going to start a book with my mom. So that, I think, will be a great project for both of us. Now, to be able to write this book with my mom I'm just thinking, this is a great thing. This is like, I'm glad that we both are able to do this right now. Piece of kibbe. And the kibbe latte. How about you got some pita? Shaheen. When people say, oh, I don't like to cook, make it an event. And it's really can be a lot of fun. It's an evening of of experiencing and sharing and bonding with your family. There's a lot of, you know, I have a lot of fun with it. I think our friends and family do too.
I am Neda Ulabi. Hope to see you next week for more Arab American stories.
Major funding for Arab American Stories was provided by Mohammed and Jamie El-Arian, the Arab American Community of Michigan, the Arab American Community of Houston, Texas, the American Syrian Arab Cultural Association of Michigan. Additional funding was provided by